You're listening to Around Comics. 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 You're listening to Around Comics.
Go ahead, Chris.
From Chicago and Milwaukee and Chicago. You're back from Texas. This is Around Comics, the comic culture podcast where we talk about everything in and around the world of comics and comics culture. I'm your host, Christopher Niesman, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Brian Salazar.
Hello.
Hello. So just because I can't hear the intro, whenever the video switches to me, that's when I should start the intro. Is that correct?
You can't hear it?
No, I can't hear the music.
Oh, I thought you could hear it. I was
No.
wondering.
That's why I'm sitting here like a dummy.
Oh, well, now I know.
Yeah. Tom looks surprised. Tom.
Maybe I should do the intro from now on. Just because it'll be easier. I think
no intro.
No.
Or no intro.
No intro.
Would be good.
It's old school.
It's the only thing that I sound even remotely intelligent doing. So
well, we can't have that.
No, absolutely not.
Remote.
Hi, Jens. How you doing?
It's Friday night and we're talking comics like the old days. We just need to be at Dark Tower Comics tonight. And it would be like 2014 all over again.
Yeah,
There's a
drinking
bunch of,
and smoking and being bad.
There's some long boxes in this room behind me.
I'm digging through quarter boxes.
Yeah, just digging.
Me checking out the latest hero clicks.
Me smoking with Tiny Hank in the back alley.
Is
Tiny Hank.
Is Hero Clicks still a thing?
I believe so. It's I was at the local comic shop and they had a free comic book day hero click. So somebody's still making them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Somewhere out there.
It is also opening day for most of us baseball fans.
Watching the White Sox shit the bed as we speak.
Are you? Yeah. Is the bullpen? Got into the bullpen?
No, not yet. But Giolito has not had a good 2 innings. He's given up 5. His ERA is like 75 right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Way to start the season strong, Giolito.
My Cardinals are
they just tied it up.
Playing the Buccos and Tom, your Brewers are in Chicago this afternoon.
Yep.
So,
Playing those
sweet New Jerseys.
Yeah. Did you guys see my? There was an Onion article. It was Chicago Cubs put cardboard cutouts of fans pissing all over outside of Wrigley Field.
That's awesome.
That made me laugh out loud.
That is entertaining. Yeah. You know what else is entertaining?
What?
Our book of the month.
No, I thought you had a sponsor. Like that's a segue to a sponsorship. It's found a sponsor.
Sounds like finally late around here. No, it is our book of the month-ish, I think is what we're going to call it.
Sure.
Going since we've been it's been a little over a month since we talked about this. We are going to be chit-chatting about the Old Guard from Image Comics and our old buddy Mr. Greg Rucka. It's also Leandro Fernandez on art. If you are an old Queen and Country fan like me, you know that they teamed up for an arc in Queen and Country. That was one of my favorites. And as most everyone knows, especially most people who aren't comic book fans, The Old Guard is now one of the top 10 most viewed movies in Netflix history. Is that correct?
Sure,
It's-
it is
look,
now.
It's
That's
yeah.
you said it.
It's had over 100 million views, I think, since it launched a couple weeks ago. So we're going to chit chat about the movie adaptation a little bit as well. But this was my pick, so I'll let you guys get started. What did you think of The Old Guard? Tom looks under pressure.
I liked it. We'll
Good.
start with that.
That's,
I mean, it was very. It's sort of classic comic book, combining a bunch of different things that you've seen different places, but perhaps not combined in quite the mix that it's there. Like Immortal Warriors, and it's a little J.J. Abrams-esque, and that's like a big old pot of stuff mixed together and remixed, perhaps.
it's a covert team.
Yeah.
But they're really
immortal.
old, and they're immortal.
And they don't know what
and it's a strong female lead character.
Yeah, but it's cool.
Who smokes and drinks.
It's great. It's great. Yeah. Because of, like it.
Fucks a lot.
What was that?
And she fucks a lot.
Oh, yeah.
She has a very healthy sexual appetite.
Now, no trucking.
There
was going to be.
There might be some semi-trucks in here. I'm going to have to call you out on this. I feel like there was at least one semi-truck. Maybe just a lot of box trucks.
A trucking comic isn't just a picture of a truck. It's about the lifestyle. So if I had one criticism, you couldn't fit a truck driver.
It's not one character with a CDL.
Not one of these immortal warriors has gotten their commercial driver's license.
2,000 years?
I'm sorry, but that would be, you're going to travel the earth.
If you're going to be 6,000 years old, at some point you're going to need a CDL.
You need it. I've seen Knight Rider. Your headquarters can be in the back of a semi-truck. There you go. It works. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but reading the comic, I'd like that totally makes sense that could be a movie. That could be a movie just because of those elements to it where it's like, yes, it's kind of familiar, but like in a way I haven't seen before. That's like a great elevator pitch material for it. And the art is great in it. Love
Fernandez
the art.
is awesome. And we'll talk a lot about Rucka and the story in general, but just take a minute just to praise Fernandez's art. I love his art style. Just the schnozzes that he puts on people. Man can draw a nose.
I love a good nose.
Very Eduardo Rizzo-esque, I felt.
Yeah.
Or even some Gabriel Ba in there. I like it a lot. One of the things I noticed with the art this time around reading it was his style is very simple in he doesn't use much shading. There's not a lot of cross hatching. It's very spot black kind of thing. Yeah. But what he makes up with is the depth of his scenes. Like every single scene has a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. And sometimes he does that twice over in a scene. Like he does a lot of detail in the atmosphere of the scenes, which is great for this story because it takes place in a lot of different interesting locations and gives you that great feel.
Yeah, that's where I can see a little bit of the comparison with Eduardo Rizzo. And that was, it's one of my favorite parts of 100 Bullets is that there were stories that were told in that book purely by what was going on in the background. And, stories within stories that sometimes, and the brilliance of that book is that sometimes those stories would come back and actually be a part of the book. Sometimes it didn't mean anything. What are you chuckling about?
We lost Tom there for a second, and then Tom came
I'm back.
I'm back.
I don't know how I have two Toms. I have another Tom.
Tom's back.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I realized I was on my neighbor's internet connection because he's got a bad internet connection. It wasn't as good. I was like, everything's breaking up. Oh, I'm not on mine.
You're breaking the multiverse here.
Yeah, something's wrong.
Yeah. Oh, it's Earth B Tom on the other one. But yeah, I can see that that Rizzo comparison. I mean, certainly I don't want to say European comic because it's not. It's foreign comics. Boz, Brazilian. Where is Eduardo Rizzo from?
Spain.
Oh, let's see.
Is he Spanish? I didn't know if he was
or Italian. One of those.
No, he's Latin. I just forget. I forget if he's South America or Europe, but yeah, it's that vibe for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a definite influence, or maybe it's just they're all influenced by like what's the oh god, now I can't think of it. What's the artist?
Jacques Tardy.
Topo.
Oh, who?
God damn it! I'm gonna have to look it up. I can't. Topo. Is it Topo?
Topo?
Who's the guy who did Torpedo?
Aquaman's
Yeah.
octopus?
From Torpedo?
Yeah. Sergio Topi.
Topo, Aquaman's octopus.
I've got that book around. Oh, here it is.
Sergio Topi.
Huh?
Isn't it Sergio Topi?
What?
Or am I thinking of someone else?
This is Jordi Bernay. Is Torpedo.
Oh, there you go.
We've never been more just like old men than we were just in the last minute. What?
What was that?
I can't hear you.
Oh no, it's somebody different. What? Who's that guy?
I can't hear anyone.
You Topa,
Topi.
Topi Tops. Topo.
So next thing, when people are actually allowed to go back to conventions and cosplay, there's going to be a lot of those sweet battle axes that Andy carries around. That's going to be
herpes.
There's going to be a lot of herpes and sweet battle axes.
Although I think BarCon is being canceled. That's one of the things that's not ever going to come back is the after parties at conventions. I think that's
for multiple reasons.
That's been bad things happen. Although that was always my favorite part of the show. I've been groped a couple of times, but other than that, it's been fine. It's been a lot of fun.
I get handsy. I'm sorry, Sal.
This is true.
Yeah. This
kid forced me to sleep in a bed with him one convention.
It's happened before. It's twice.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
Yeah. It's okay. You're a good snuggler.
Jay Scars.
Oh, Scarsy.
He knows
hey,
this.
Bud. I miss that guy.
He's a kid?
He is.
He's a little child.
Wait a second.
He's our old. He's been listening his entire life.
To
Around Comics.
Scarsy, you're behind on the Dark Tower reference. Sal already threw that one in there.
Well, he had posted earlier. I just didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we're more like 90 miles apart than 6 feet.
Something like that.
Yeah. So yeah. Any other thoughts on the old guard?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I was intrigued reading it after I had watched the movie of the differences and knowing that Rucka had written both the comic book and the screenplay for the movie for Netflix. It was interesting to see the sort of things he changed or decided to change, the choices he kind of made in the characters. He had added a different character and removed another character from the book, which I thought was interesting. I think that might be setting up the sequel to the movie where the character Achilles that he removed, which he didn't. I mean, there you go. I haven't read that yet, so I have no idea.
It explains a lot of that.
One of the things that was interesting was like comparing the violence and some of the moments, like in the very beginning of the book, and I'll actually pull it up here. When you find out that they were set up by Copley, and that moment where they get shot to shit in that room, in that empty room is kind of a small moment in the book, but it's like this huge, really like interesting, exciting moment in.
Yeah. It's kind of the flashpoint in the movie that's the twist that kind of sets everything else in motion.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see the difference there between the book and the movie with that. It's like, oh, I wonder why he didn't make that more. I mean, I guess he did. They kind of did, but it's just in a movie where you can like draw that out for 30 seconds. It
was an awesome scene in the movie that was drawn out. It was a couple pages in the book, still an important scene, but not as it's whenever you think of the movie, it's like, oh yeah, that was a huge scene.
Yeah. And like the action was really interesting. Like I thought Fernandez does an awesome job with some of his action scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some stuff in there that I love his use of lettering. I mean, it really reminds me a little bit of like Dark Knight Returns and like some Mazzucchelli Daredevil and that kind of thing. Like really cool use of stairwells and the backgrounds, and then combining all this these action words, bam and zoom and bang and bada 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 from the machine guns and all the gunfire.
It's I would assume not done by the letterer, actually drawn in as part of the art. I would think so, because I don't see how you would do that as a collaboration. That seems too tough. Like, it seems like it would be something that he put in there. But even so, it's like there's no way to get the same effect as you get like in a movie with a well choreographed action scene. And like, you don't quite get the same feel like when Charlize Theron is like wading through 10 or 15 soldiers. It's just like, holy shit. The church scene.
Yeah, exactly. Like that scene is just like, whoa, fuck.
Yeah, Tom, who has not seen the movie yet, there is a scene where there are people that have been sent out to kill Charlize Theron and the rest of them, and she kind of just pulls a badass move of, you guys get out the back door, I'll take care of this. And then she goes and just absolutely rails through 15 heavily armed soldiers, and it's brutal. It's awesome.
And much more hand-to-hand stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I want to see.
Like, both mediums have strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's things in comics you can't do in movies, and there's just things in movies you can't do in a comic. And they both. This is one of the closer adaptations, I would say, a comic book adaptation.
Yeah.
The movie is really close. I mean, there's it follows pretty much the plot points.
Yeah, the plot is almost identical. There's some character changes, and if you've read the second volume of the comic, there's a character who plays a little bit more prominent role in the movie than in the comic. And the first in this one, Opening Fire, it's more of the prominent character in the second volume. So it'll be interesting to see as the next Netflix movie comes out, and I think it's probably safe to say it's going to be a trilogy of movies, and it's already been announced that it's a trilogy of comics. But I think just from a spectator standpoint, what's interesting is that we talk a lot when a comic is adapted to film or TV about the changes once it's been taken away from the original creators. This was a rare opportunity to see what happens when the original writer also handles the screenwriting duties. And so he made choices to change from the comic. So I think sometimes people have work on the assumption that if it were left to the original writer, those changes wouldn't be made. And I think this is a really good example of sometimes
you're wrong.
Have to be made for it to be a viewable, watchable movie.
Well, one of the interesting changes he made was the villain. I felt in the comic is a very sort of one-note, cartoonish character. He's very vile and over the top, and
the pharma guy.
Huh?
The pharma guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much to him. I mean, he's just sort of pharma bro. I mean,
Skrelly.
yeah, exactly. And it's
He's Skrelly. I mean,
yeah, but he's not that interesting of a villain, quite honestly. He's kind of there, and I felt like the change to make the character a little more three-dimensional in the film was good, and just not as quite as over the top villainy, as in the comic. It was just one of those things I noticed, like, oh, this character's pretty kind of cartoonish, like he's a little over the top and
little blah blah blah. Ha,
ha.
like real pharma people are.
It's like, I get it, he's a bad guy, but yeah, I mean, other than that, like it's pretty close to the source material, obviously, but I enjoyed them both. I like both the movie. I like, it was an interesting experience of like reading the comic after watching the movie, because that's rarely the case for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like generally it's like I'll read the comic and then watch the movie, but this time it was the other way around. So it was kind of interesting to go through that experience of like knowing the story already and like going, oh, I kind of like the movie better, but it was only because I experienced it first, but
I think it's interesting that I can enjoy the movie for what the movie is and enjoy the comic for what the comic is. Kind of,
you have to pick one.
I have to pick one.
Yeah, one's good and one's garbage. Bottom of the stack.
You have to eat one. You have to despise Greg Rucka as a screenwriter. You can love him as a comic book writer, but you have to despise him then as a screenwriter.
Yes.
Greg Rucka ruined Greg Rucka's story.
I think, and it's it depends on how you look at it, but I think interesting that
like this.
A immortal gay couple, that's in the story, and it didn't feel incredibly out of place. Sometimes that stuff can feel kind of shoehorned in, or kind of hammered.
He's a guilty white guy. Of course he's good. He's a guilty white guy from Portland. Like, okay, 5 immortal beings on the planet. 2 are female, 1's black, 2 are gay. Oh, there is one maybe straight white guy. We're not quite sure.
Yeah, but he ends up being the asshole.
That's the odds that that's going to happen.
And he turns up being the traitorous asshole.
Of course.
Yeah, the white guy. Yeah.
Listen, if you live a thought for like 6,000 years or whatever, you're gonna try everything.
Yeah, you're gonna be bored with. You're gonna be inanimate objects.
Yeah,
I mean, but no. Although I guess if you think about it, like if these, most of them are ancient. Like, what was the population of the planet? When they were born.
Like 6,800 years ago.
Yeah, what was the makeup of the planet? I don't know. I'm not a
lot less.
I was going to say I'm not an anthropologist, but I'm just not a very smart person.
I'm an idiot.
I'm not very well educated.
I am an idiot.
I'm an idiot, so I don't know what the answer to that question.
What I'm talking about.
I
thought it was interesting because in the movie, the scene with the gay couple when they're being transported and like there's that big speech that the guy gives about.
It's like verbatim from the comic.
Yeah, it is, but I didn't know that. I was kind of like, oh, did they kind of shove that in there for the movie? But then it's like, oh no, it's right there. It's in the page
verbatim.
Exact speech.
Yeah, I'm sure Greg was like, I worked on that speech for like 4 days, and it's going to be verbatim.
Oh, we get it, Greg. You're a hero.
But it's a pretty diverse comic book, diverse movie, which is that's all good stuff. So, and what we come to expect from Greg, it's first of all, it does have to have a strong yet flawed female lead. That's kind of been his modus operandi for quite a while.
How is she flawed? How would you say she's flawed?
I should
drinks too much. I mean,
the probably near alcoholism, smoking.
That's kind of pot calling the kettle black, my friend.
flawed flawed individual.
As I drink some whiskey.
The second volume kind of gets into some other transgressions. So yeah, she's not a
Tax cheat.
Huh?
Tax cheat.
Probably identity theft.
Identity theft.
Definitely that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't go a couple of thousand years without doing that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll let you speculate, but yeah, she's over 6,000 years old. She has ruled.
I mean, she does murder a lot of people.
She does murder a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's
She was
we keep forgetting that she's killed a lot of people.
She was a warlord.
people.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
That's definitely a flaw.
The
Yeah.
what did warlords do with the people that they captured but didn't kill? You know. So there's some.
The one thing with the movie that they didn't do that I enjoyed about the book more was sort of the flashbacks in history and the little peeks into their times in history and their backstories. I thought added a little more. I mean, it's just a little more interesting to me because of that. I mean, not that the movie needed that necessarily, but
Yeah.
I liked that in the book, that you kind of got a glimpse at where these guys came from or what battles they were in or what experiences they had previously. It wasn't a ton, but I was thinking about it and I'm like, oh yeah, it probably didn't make much sense to try and put that in, because it's like, well, how are you going to, because in the book she's sort of like narrating those stories and she's telling us those stories of all the characters. And that wouldn't quite work in the movie, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like that would be kind of a weird transition to, like, all of a sudden she's telling you the story of Booker, or one of the other characters,
Didn't Nikki and Joe kill each other? Isn't that how they?
Well, yeah, they were on opposite sides
sides of a battle, right?
Of a battle, and they couldn't kill each other, and they just kept coming back, and then obviously that turned into love. That brought them.
That's how all love stories start, right? You love the ones you can't kill. Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the series. I think the movie was solid. It's weird that Charlize Theron has kind of turned into a big action comic book star over the last few years. It's after Atomic Blonde and now this, and you can not that Mad Max is a comic book adaptation, but that female action lead, she plays the role well.
She's a badass.
She is a badass.
I mean,
you ever watch Hot Ones?
She's a badass.
You ever watch Hot Ones on YouTube? It's the hot sauce, the hot wing show. Yeah, she was on that and like literally not phased through most of it. She's South African, and it's
women
was not phased.
Women have a higher threshold of pain than men.
Do South Africans eat a lot of hot food?
Yes. There's some traditionally really hot, spicy sauces that they put on meat and that kind of stuff.
Women, higher threshold of pain.
This is true.
Handle their capsaicin or caps. What's the heat? What makes peppers hot? Capsaicin?
Capsaicin, something like that?
Capsaicin? Yeah.
Pepper.
Childbirth, hot peppers, whatever.
Yeah, so for folks out there that want to continue the story from the opening fire, the second volume, Force Multiplied, is out in single issues. I imagine that it will be released in trade here before the end of the year. And they already announced the third series in the book is going to be called Fade Away. So that I think it's kind of always been planned to be a trilogy. So
if I won't read something unless it's a trilogy. Watch something. It's got to be three.
Have a beginning, middle, and end.
Beginning, middle, and end.
It's not worthy.
Parts.
It's not worthy of 3 parts.
Unless it's a franchise, I'm not going to invest my time. Some one-off.
None of these one-offs.
Yeah.
This story has never been told before. That's why there was a Godfather 3, because Tom demanded it.
I was like, what? There's only 2?
Everybody blame Tom.
If you're going to make a second one, start filming that third one at the same time.
Right away.
Right away.
Yeah. Well, they already announced that, or have they announced that there's going to be a sequel for Netflix? I can't imagine that it wouldn't be. I mean, it's, it's 100 million views or whatever. There's
anything at this point because nothing's being made.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
We'll know sometime next year, hopefully.
There might be a old guard podcast with Charlize Theron and Greg Rucka.
Greg's like, here's your line.
I mean, the thing that's crazy about it is think about during this pandemic, it's really illustrated how much stuff Netflix had filmed and was done and was ready to because no one's filmed anything.
The scary part of that, Tom, is think about the lag that is going to happen
there's going to be
in the next few months.
Oh no, don't worry. People right now are pitching dumb Zoom game shows and
bigger animation studios are going to be pretty busy.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of animated stuff coming out, a lot of stupid remote game shows. Or I saw E-Television has something where you can do a Zoom call with a celebrity. That's just the show.
Yeah,
it's like we don't have anything. We can't do anything.
Life is a podcast, Tom. Life is a podcast.
Finally, the world has come around.
Right.
Yeah.
To how sad
we've been ahead of the game. We've been doing this for years. These jokers are just getting into it. Like everyone has a podcast now. Every single actor, comedian, they all have podcasts now because they have nothing else to do.
Yeah, now that the whole world is as sad as we are.
Yeah, I just keep seeing it like Brie Larson's show has like more dislikes than likes or something. It's kind of turned into
really.
Yeah, it's one of those that's just kind of become a magnet for people to hate on.
Well, I couldn't stand. I only saw the like promo clip of it and the 12 seconds of her pretending like not knowing what she's doing and not knowing how to be in front of a camera to make it seem like she's a normal person. That was enough for me. I couldn't take any more after that.
I can't. 12 seconds is enough of you. Click.
I was fascinated with Saturday Night Live from home, though. I will say those people deserve an award for attempting to do comedy from their fucking bathrooms.
Whoever the gal is that did the Airbnb skit, that was I think like the Swedish Gen Z tourist that checked into the woman's house like the week before the lockdown, and it's like 2 months later and she's still living there. And that was I
was impressed with what they were able to come up with. I mean, considering the limitations, say what you will about Saturday Night Live, but those people put in a hero's effort trying to
did their best.
Yes, that was professional improv there. Yeah, there was a point where I'm just like, every one of these skits is going to be like a Zoom skit of like stupid Zoom encounters.
It wasn't though. I mean,
that which was nice.
Yeah, I said when I first started watching, I'm like, years from now, someone will produce a film talking about the trials and tribulations of attempting the Saturday Night Live cast attempting to put on this season amid COVID, and that person is Lorne Michaels.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's been something.
Jesus Christ, Giolito, fucking your team comes back and gives you 5 runs to tie the game, and you just go back out there and give it right back. God damn it. Sorry.
He pitched all of his good stuff in oh no, and Colton Wong thrown out on a triple error thrown out at the plate. So both of our teams are thinking of. He had to go though.
From Hawaii, Jason.
Hey there, Jason.
Tom's front. No, that's Tom's back. Not. Oh, Jason. How's
Aloha.
Hawaii?
That's
What's
him
the- I
saying
wonder
good.
what-
That's him saying goodbye.
Oh, I wonder what's goodbye. I'm leaving you, Sal.
Yeah,
Aloha
means both.
and back.
Yeah, means both.
We just have to guess which it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Jason Kim from Hawaii is saying hi on the YouTube live feed. For those out there that just listen to this as an audio podcast, just let you know we
Go
do
fuck
that.
yourselves. Oh wait, no, nothing.
That's the old core member. That's the core group of listeners. We do this as a live video stream on YouTube, and then it is archived there for your viewing pleasure if you ever wanted to know what we looked like. And we will
YouTube,
disappoint you
Facebook,
greatly.
and Periscope
Oh, and Periscope. Yes,
simultaneously.
nice. That's a lot.
VHS subscription. Get it?
I think we're on the Ocho.
Those.
Also, I think.
Yeah, ESPN at this point, ESPN might be that desperate for programming. But Sal, if folks want to contact the show, they can do so by
emailing us at info@aroundcomics.com, or you can contact us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those places, all those social media places that are the cesspool and downfall of American culture.
Yes, exactly. So you can go on Facebook and be part of the conversation after the show. You can also suggest things like what books of the month we can talk about, different topics, or any questions that you have. So we love the interaction with listeners and viewers. So
I just want to point out to people that Chris is wearing a St. Louis Cardinals jersey, a St. Louis Cardinals hat, and drinking out of a White Sox cup. Where's your Brewers? You're wearing Brewers underwear? I mean, how fractured is your friendship, my friend? What is that? I don't know what that is. I can't tell. It's too small. Is that a
Barrel Man?
Oh, Barrel Man Brewers. Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
You have no loyalty
For my brothers, for you guys,
loyalty.
I have loyalty to you and you. That's why I'm doing
Greg
it.
Rucka.
Greg Rucka.
A Greg Rucka jersey.
These are all teams of cities I've
When
lived.
is Greg Rucka going to give us a strong, bald lead hero of a book?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's a bald man himself.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
time. It's long past time.
I'm telling you, man, it's he's got his wheelhouse and he's sticking with it, and I don't blame him. Hey, he's killing it right now. He's got Stumptown and the Old Guard. Gail Godot just signed on to be in a like spy versus spy inspired espionage movie that he's writing. So I don't know if you saw that.
Everything's coming up, Rucka.
Everything, yeah, it's good. You know, it's I'm happy for him.
Good for him.
Good to be Rucka.
It's good to be Rucka. Absolutely.
Rucka's got all the lucka.
And hey, as of yet, nobody has come out and said that he raped anyone. I mean, that's
He would
terrific.
probably be. That would never happen with Craig. That guy.
Never say never, my friend.
Yeah.
Don't put your chickens in one basket.
If I were a betting man, I'd say that one's pretty safe. So
Don't put all your chickens in a
Jen would
one
kill
run.
him.
Don't put all your eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, his wife would kill him. If there's anyone who is
Also, it's just wrong.
and also just
Also, a terrible thing to do and morally wrong.
yes, yeah. And if there's anyone who is Greg has his
All right, Mr. PR. You don't have to try and. It was just a joke.
I understand. So Sal, stop saying rape.
Well, great. Now you said it. Now the fucking algorithm.
We're gonna get kicked out of YouTube for sure.
Oh, definitely.
So that's the Old Guard. Hope you read it. Hope you liked it. Who is going to pick our next book to read?
It's Tom, isn't it?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
Tom looks around frantically at his
No,
bookshelf.
I got it picked out. I got my camera. I got my camera on a dolly right now, just sort of like.
Oh, that's awesome.
Zoom in on me. Hey, what's up, guys? Back up.
I finally bought a new webcam, so I don't have to steal my wife's from her office. You can finally buy webcams again. It's great.
Finally, I am picking. It is from IDW. It is a graphic novel called Tiananmen 1989. Our Shattered Hopes.
I've been wanting to read that.
Sounds bad.
It's good. I think you'll like it a lot.
All right.
Sal's like, ugh, history.
Gross. What have I told you? It has an immortal warrior inside.
No, you.
What have I told you? What if I told you it's about
Is there a
secret Chinese superhero?
Is there a funny shaped axe?
Yes, there's magical weapons. There's that. It's all in there. So, it's really good. So I look forward to everyone reading it. It's written by Lun Zhang, who is actually someone who lived through Tiananmen Square. Translated by Adrian Gambaud, and with art by Amazian. And it's awesome. It's a great book.
Amazing.
We're gonna have
great artist.
It's I won't say anything more about it, but it's
What is it called again?
Tiananmen 1989, Our Shattered Dreams.
Our shattered dreams or our shattered hopes?
Shattered Hopes.
Okay.
Oh fuck. I did it. Ah, shit.
I got it. I got it now. I just wanted to make sure I had the right. I mean, I didn't think there was two of them.
Yeah,
but you never know. You know,
I'm writing like the rip-off version.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm writing like the low rent, like.
You're writing the Chinese rip-off version. Chinese version.
It's like yeah.
All right, it is ordered and on the way.
Yeah, it's available on Hoopla.
Oh, thank
my
you.
local library. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I didn't want to have to buy that. I didn't.
Yeah, that's for you. Check it out from the library.
Thank you. I support our local libraries.
Yeah,
No.
it's great. It's great. I've read so many things through the library.
Doing the audiobooks.
I'm not a big audiobook person.
I drive 80 miles to work.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
You should just stay in Chicago. You would have been
Tom, I work in Janesville twice a week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
me too. So yeah, it's a little bit of a haul, but yeah, our library is great. I just got they're doing a prequel to Snowpiercer, which is, I think it's like Snowpiercer The Fall, which I just saw volume 1 and grabbed it. I saw Snowpiercer volume 1 and I never read it, and I just finished the series and I got home. It's like, oh, it's the prequel, and so I just kind of flipped through it. I want to go back and actually read the original series. Did you guys finish up, or have you watched the TNT Snowpiercer series?
No, I got to be honest. I saw the previews for it, and I was like, "Holy shit! This looks like the cheap version of Snowpiercer. It looks like the TV movie version. Just like the way like the sets looked and like costumes looked. I was kind of like, I don't know.
I thought it was worth the watch. So I know Sal, you
started watching it, but haven't gone back. I'll be honest with you. Dystopian, nightmare scenarios of like oppressed social, science societies is not. We're so close to that now. I'm looking for.
Yeah,
I need fantasy, not reality.
Yeah, I need magic. I need
immortal warriors with big
immortal warriors. I just need something happy.
Okay.
I finished reading Omega Men. I'm now caught up in something from 5 years ago.
Okay, that Omega Man.
Yeah, the Tom King. Yeah, which was pretty dystopian and also sad.
Yes. Yeah. I'm loving his strange adventures, though.
Yeah. It's like I still like.
I haven't read it. I haven't. Is it good?
It's good. It feels to me a lot like it covers a lot of stuff that he also kind of goes into in Mr. Miracle, but not. It almost feels like a dry run of Mr. Miracle in a little bit of a way, or like a lot of the topics that come up in Mr. Miracle are kind of covered in there. But I actually sort of like how the writing and art sort of deal with it in Mr. Miracle a little bit better than I do in Omega Men. Which is quick. Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool
who
story.
did the art? Who did the art?
In Omega Men? Let me look it up.
It wasn't Gerard's, was it?
No. It starts with a B. Oh, I'm having an old man moment.
B. Hey, no, we already talked about him.
Bendis.
It's Bendis.
Bendis goes back to his art roots.
Barnaby Bagenda.
That's not a real name.
It is.
No.
The real name, Barnaby Bagenda.
What was the?
No offense, Barnaby.
Whenever we were talking about that was one thing that I hate that we didn't bring up when we were talking about the life of Denny O'Neil. He had the best pen name. What was it? It was something O'Shaughnessy, like Seamus O'Shaughnessy. Whenever he went across the street to write for the
fuck yourself, O'Shaughnessy.
Oh, fuck yourself, O'Shaughnessy.
Seamus O'Shaughnessy.
That was like a pen name of his. That back whenever they would have to do that if they were going from Marvel or DC. What was the Gene Colan pen name?
Come on, man. I can't remember.
I can barely remember people's real names.
Yeah.
Like,
what is Gene Colan? I don't remember him.
Call Suntress.
Where's Suntress?
He'll know these names. I don't know.
It's not pen pal. It's
I don't know the fake names.
You guys like my new hat?
Oh, hell yeah. That's jaunty.
Adam Austin. Adam Austin.
Chuck Austin?
That was Gene Colan's pseudonym. So nice. You look like you need to go and shoot at some big game. Uncle's hat?
In case I have to. Yeah, this was one of my uncle's hats. He had lots of hats. Lots of hats.
He's a hat man?
He was a hat man. He had 12 straw hats.
Wow.
Who has 12 straw hats?
Your uncle.
That.
Plus this hat. He had fedoras, sombreros, cowboy hats, a couple berets, a pith helmet, and a vintage German. I don't even know what you call it. Yeah. Lots of hats.
Nice.
Hat and helmet, man.
I like this is one of my favorites. This was Australian.
Yeah. You're gonna go catch a croc or something.
That's not a knife.
Yeah.
I'm reading Doom Patrol again.
Which one?
All of them.
We're starting with the Arnold Drake stuff.
Well, I'm kind of jumping back and forth. Like I'm reading like 4 issues of one, and then I read 4 issues of it. So I'm reading the Arnold Drake stuff, starting with the
cool.
adventure. But that stuff's like,
it's hard. It's a slog.
It is. It's cool. There's cool shit in it, and it's kind of fun to pick apart. But it's kind of tough. But I'm reading the Morrison.
Yeah, I mean it's Silver Age. Yeah.
And then the Gerard Way.
I'm liking the Gerard Way. I've got that on the nightstand. I'll get into it.
That was actually going to be my next. I think my next book pick maybe was the first volume of that, but I don't know. But I will tell you, I fucking love that show so much.
It's really good.
God, I can't get enough of that show. It is so well done and so kooky. And Rita Farr, that actress, has I think she has done a brilliant fucking job. Like I usually don't really pay attention or think of stuff like, oh wow, the choices that this actor is making.
Mm-hmm.
But the choices that she is making for that character are so brilliant.
April Bowlby.
Yeah. And which is funny, she up until now, she was sort of she would show up in a show as sort of the hot girl next door kind of thing. And I'm really happy that she's able to show what she can do in this show, because she's so fucking good. And the decisions she's making for that, every episode I watch it, she does something just brilliant.
Yeah,
for that character. It's just so spot on, and it just works. And it's subtle stuff that she's choosing to do, but it's so good. And the whole cast, the whole cast in that show is just fantastic. But the writing is great.
Have you ever liked Timothy Dalton in anything better than this?
No, never.
Yeah.
The only thing even close was because he kind of plays
Flash Gordon.
No, in Penny Dreadful.
Oh yeah,
he plays the same character almost.
Yeah, but Penny Dreadful wasn't as good as this show, and so yeah.
Well, no, it's not. It's not. I like Penny Dreadful a lot, but it's not as good as this show. You're right.
I can't believe that they were allowed to make something that is as just fucking weird as this show.
Oh. And they embrace it. They just
Candleman. Yeah.
I love the callback.
First season's bad guy was a giant freaking cockroach.
It's so good. It's so but I have to be honest, now going back to the comic, I'm reading the Grant Morrison version, and I'm using I hear their voices now when I'm reading those characters.
Does it make it easier to read?
It makes it so much better. It makes it I'm enjoying it that much more, because I'm sort of the way that they have chose to interpret the books.
Mm-hmm.
It's given me a new perspective on the books. You know what I mean? So now when I read the books, it's oh, this is a lot funnier than I thought it was.
As opposed to trying to interpret it all as super profound.
Exactly.
Or as it's more of actually these are really fun. It's funny. It's not
funny and weird. And it's oh, I kind of feel oh, this is what I didn't understand about Morrison's Doom Patrol, maybe, is that it's really just funny and weird. He's not necessarily trying to be super deep or complicated. He's just being weird. He's just being weird and funny. And it's oh yeah, I'm enjoying him so much more because of that.
Yeah. Or it's it's not supposed to all be some hidden secret key to some ultimate hidden truth. It's just a bunch of weird shit.
And I can just enjoy. I think part of it is just age too. I'm at the age where I can just it. Not only can I enjoy it, but I now I'm seeking out shit that's just kind of weird and offbeat and not your typical. As much as I like the Old Guard, it is sort of it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's an action movie.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's great. I liked it, but I kind of want something weirder. I'm looking for stuff that's a little off kilter now and just strange. It's just where I'm at. I've read so many straight comics, so many sort of typical comic book stories. No, I need something different. I need something weirder. I need Omega Men or
as soon as the Doom Patrol TV show wraps up season 2, you'll be able to jump right into Umbrella Academy.
Well, that's I mean,
yeah,
absolutely that kind of thing. Same weirdness, same bizarre.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because for as weird as the Morrison Doom Patrol was at times, it's also what they did take was the way that Robot Man's always been kind of the center of Doom Patrol in a way, but I feel like it wasn't until, this will probably be unfair to someone I'm not thinking of, but Morrison kind of gave Robot Man more of like an empathetic, like there's a sadness to him, but also like he sort of doesn't give a fuck too, like that combination of like it's an absurd thing. He's like trapped in this absurd sort of like condition.
Well, and also he's sort of the everyman.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of get things from his perspective because he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is going on here?
Literally, he says, what the fuck?
All the time. Yeah.
All the time. The rest, it's like Jane is 64 personalities, and in Morrison's Doom Patrol, like Negative Man is a combination of 3 different,
we barely kind of know what he is most of the time.
Yeah. And so it's like, Cliff is sort of the only not normal, but at least, from his perspective, it's normal. You know what I mean? Like he's just sort of like, what? This is all fucked up and weird. Why doesn't and that's what I love about the show too, is like, he's sort of the guy like, why isn't anyone else think this is fucked up? Like why
like,
weird.
What's happening?
Yeah, this is really, really fucking weird. But I love what they've done with Niles too. Like, and it makes me feel a little bit like what the brilliant ideas in the Venture Brothers. I love the Venture Brothers show so much. That is one of my most favorite things that's come out in 50 years. And the thing I love about it is the idea they took of like, they're living in this sort of antiquated house full of old technology that was cutting edge at one time, but now it's
kind of sucks.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. And I love that's kind of like Niles at one time was this, he had all this like cutting edge technology, but now it's kind of janky and weird. It still works, and it does.
It's like weird. I love what they've done. Like when we talked about this months ago, I do feel like they've sort of found like a way of I always felt like that character, there is no definitive version of him. Because ultimately, Morrison sort of makes him like, oh, actually, he's the bad. Actually,
right.
This guy's the bad guy. Like you don't know anything about him, and he's like inscrutable and like impossible to like totally figure out what he is. And in a weird way, Timothy Dalton's kind of made him like, not that you get him, but he's like a person. As opposed to like in the comics,
back and forth. They keep going back and forth of like, it's like, on one hand, he comes off as kind of a piece of shit for what he did, but then they make him sympathetic, and caring. Like it's interesting what they're doing with that, like sort of going because like Morrison,
he's like a layered 3-dimensional character.
Exactly, he's a layered. Well, I think Morrison tried, but he made him much more. Like, he wasn't a benevolent benefactor. Like he wasn't, helping anyone but himself. He was very selfish. Now he's very selfish, self-centered, and Dalton does that too. Like,
he also has the other elements.
He has the other side of it,
where it's like, oh, okay. Like I sort of see
there might be a reason for it. There might be,
or at least he feels like a character,
but there's still self-centered.
Yeah, he feels like a character, whereas sometimes in Morrison, like that character just sort of feels like, nothing you knew is what you thought. It's like, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know what to think anymore.
The one thing I love about Morrison's Calder is like he never is caught off guard.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
No matter how weird or strange, it's like, oh, of course,
of course,
you
this
know,
is what's happening. I was planning for this.
Yeah, he's always dealt with it somewhere in the past.
Yeah,
This
this reminds me of 1929. Whenever we dealt with something, almost identical to this.
Yeah, this is what we've done this before, and
So
yeah.
it's really an interesting, like, it's given me such a fresh perspective on the books. It's fun now to go back and read it again and sort of have that and those voices in my head.
But also, what is cool about it is Cyborg, who's a character who's been jammed into so many things that he doesn't really fit into, actually kind of works in this. And like, I like what, like the whole arc of it from the first season, like his character, like, you think of like the Justice League movie and it's like, now Cyborg's part of the Justice League. And you're like,
right.
Okay.
It's what they've done in the comics. They've tried to shoehorn that character in so many times.
And that poor character
never been interesting.
Can't handle it.
Yeah.
But then, like, I liked how they kind of jammed him into the Doom Patrol and kind of like, I like the actor that plays, that plays the role, and I'm like,
also, even the way they did it was sort of like meta in the sense of like he felt he was already a superhero, too good for the Doom Patrol. He didn't need the Doom Patrol.
Yeah, exactly.
But then he kind of finds out, no, you're fucked up. Like, you got a lot of issues. You're just as fucked up as the rest of these fucking bits.
Well, the interesting thing with the character is that it puts him in an interesting position because he goes from being the freak when he's not around them to when he is with the team, he might be the most normal person on the team.
Well, he at least feels like
in his mind,
mind,
and then he starts to uncover a lot of his baggage and crap that he has to deal with. But yeah, it's
just funny because it's like you see him in the Justice League, and it's like, oh, he's this big time superhero. But even in that movie, they sort of touched on the idea of he's not a really happy person. He's a fucking machine. And he's not even sure if he's human anymore, and that would be really fucked up. Like, that would be a really tough existence. And that was Morrison. Like, he looked at Robot Man and like going, this would be awful. This would be fucking horrible to be this character. Like, and it's such an interesting perspective because like the original Drake stuff, while it was weird, like, other than the first issue, he doesn't really deal with their own, feelings on themselves that much. You know what I mean? Like the first issue, it's like, oh, you guys are all, have hardships. But then it's just like Niles going, well, stop feeling sorry for yourself and, do something good.
Animal, vegetable, mineral man is out there.
We need to stop him. And they're all like, okay, let's do that.
Let's go, team. Yeah, I love that they touched on that on the TV show with the original Doom Patrol team that you just did not end well. And I just watched the episode, the Danny the Brick episode where Niles got Cliff High. He's like, I can make this more enjoyable for you.
Everybody gets high in that episode. That's an awesome episode.
Like, I am so high.
Well, the other thing, like, I was reading the Morrison. I was reading an issue of the Morrison run today, and it's like, it was like the first. I think it was the first issue, and it's this perfect Niles Calder moment of like, he goes to meet Steve at the hospital, and he finds out Steve is now Rebus. He's this combination of three characters, and he's very, like not sure what the fuck he is. And he leaves, and then his first instinct is like, well, do you want to join the Doom Patrol? Like, it's not like, this guy's in trouble. He needs help. It's, hey, you're a mess.
Yeah.
You want to join
the perfect
hero team. Uh-oh. We lost
Tom.
What happened? Tom's not back.
We're going to see Tom's front.
he loses internet connection again?
Probably.
But yeah, it's just like I said, the show is so good that it's given me an entirely new appreciation for the Doom Patrol comics, and specifically the Grant Morrison stuff, which I liked. But there he is. But yeah, it's just I'm having fun all over again with the comics, which is awesome. Like I can't think of many shows or movies or something that has done that to me, where it's like it's made my experience of the book or the comic book better. Like it's rare. I know it has happened, but
yeah,
it's pretty.
This actually goes back to one of Tom's book of the month picks from like Around Comics version 1, which I read and just did not get it. But then I listened to the audio drama of it, and it clicked, and I went back and reread it, and it just everything made sense. And that was The Adventures of Luther Arkbrey. And I don't know if you've ever, they did a really good audio drama that with like David Tennant, like before he was Doctor Who. And it was really, big all-star UK cast. And it just, the story clicked for me whenever I heard it as the audio drama, because the comic confused the shit out of me.
Well, it's a pretty dense comic. I mean, that's not an easy one for sure. So I could, yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing sometimes where I can't think of anything off the top of my head other than Doom Patrol, but I know that there have been other things like that where it's like, oh, it's changed my view of the book, and so it's like I can go back. I think actually I can think of one that did that to me was Gaiman's American Gods.
Sure.
I hadn't read the book. But I watched the series, and then when I read the book, it was like, oh, I fell in love with the book. Like I really liked the series,
yeah,
but I absolutely fell in love with the book. And I think part of it was like I could see those characters, and I don't know if it's like an age thing. Like when I was younger, I had that ability more, like to sort of visualize what these characters in a book might look like or sound like. And I feel like as I got older, I sort of lost that ability a bit. And so like if I watch something and then I have those characters, and like that book or that show, when you have a phenomenal actor like Ian McShane playing Odin, it's like he's so powerful of a character, so great of an actor. It's like, oh, okay. Now when I'm reading the book and I see his face and I hear his voice,
sure,
it just adds to the book. And I absolutely fell in love with that book, where it's like one of my favorite books that I've read in the last like 20 years. But I absolutely, I know for a fact that watching that show beforehand was a part of why I ended up falling in love with that book.
It's interesting you say that, because I've got friends who are parents, and their kids are reading age, and they have intentionally not let their kids watch any of the Harry Potter movies yet until after they read the whole series, because they want their kids to not lose out on creating how those characters look and sound with their own imagination, which is something
I think I had a really strong like ability to do that when I was younger. And I think like for some reason I've lost that or something to some degree. Like I don't have that connection with books.
Yeah. There are more words on a page instead of world building in your mind.
A little bit. There's something, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's just an age thing or what, but it's an interesting, idea of just like, I enjoy sometimes now having a voice. Well, that's why but at the same time, like audiobooks are difficult for me because I can't disconnect enough or something. Like I try and listen to audiobooks, and there's been a few that I've listened to that I've enjoyed, but a lot of times I I find myself sort of like not
Drifting.
just drifting away from it and like going, oh, this, and I don't know, maybe it's the story.
Not all books are good.
That's true. That is that's true. It could be that. Could be that.
I just tanked one. I got about 3 hours into it, and I'm just like, none of these characters interest me. The story is boring. It may get better, but nobody's got time for that.
Yeah, that could be it for sure.
Yeah. So not all books are good.
What's the last good audiobook?
I'm finishing up the Ken Follett Century trilogy. It's trilogy, Tom. You'd love it.
It's great.
It's the first one is Fall of Giants. It's takes place kind of the fall of the Russian Empire, begin a couple months before the start of World War I, and it follows like 5 different families all over the world during World War I, and then the second book is really about World War II, and then up to like the Russians getting the atomic bomb, so kind of the 1950s, and then the last one, Edge of Eternity, is 1961 to like 1985. So it's just kind of a big epic world history told from like individual stories. So right now it's like all about the civil rights movement and basically Russia being a horrible place to live in 1961. So it's good. Yeah.
Sounds
kind of historical fiction.
Oh, it's fiction. It is fiction.
It's historical fiction. Yeah. So it's like Bobby Kennedy and Jack Kennedy are important characters at where I am in the book. And, one of the characters worked for Woodrow Wilson in his cabinet. And, so it's that kind of stuff. So and historical fiction. So it's of a,
you like that? I haven't read much historical fiction. I've watched some shows that are historical fiction, like Man in the High Castle. You watched that show?
That's
interesting.
I wouldn't call that historical fiction. That's alternate timeline.
Well, what the fuck's the difference?
This stuff actually happened, so it's actually following real life.
That's not fiction,
huh?
That's not fiction. They're fictional stories that are surrounded by actual events in history. So like the characters are fictional characters and their stories are fictional, but it's the backdrop is very much about actual historical events. I think you're splitting hairs here.
It's not an alternate timeline. It's historical fiction.
Well, I mean, part of Man in the High Castle is accurate. I mean, we did fight in World War II, and we just in that story we lost.
So alternate timeline. So
okay,
yeah.
I consider that historical fiction.
Like Downton Abbey would be historical fiction. It's a fictional story, but it takes place with the backdrop of things that actually happen, like the Titanic.
Any fiction that no. Historical fiction is. Listen, World War II happened.
Yes.
We lost it. That's the fictional part of World War II.
No, but
Downton Abbey is fiction. That just that's like saying that's not historical fiction.
It's the events in the history that are the setting and backdrop are almost a character unto themselves. It's like the Century series. The reason he wrote this book was as a look through the history of the last century and
Tom, what do you say about it? How do you follow this argument?
Let's wrap this up.
Let's move on to something else, or are you done for the night?
I'm done. This historical fiction thing sapped my energy. We'll have a true answer. We'll find somebody to answer it.
We will debate this later.
Well, all right then. I was enjoying it, but that's okay. We'll go to.
We can find out. We can find out what the answer is.
Historical fiction is a literary genre in which the plot takes place in a setting located in the past. Although the term is commonly used as a synonym for historical novel, it can also be applied to other types of narrative, including theater, opera, cinema, blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah. So I would say that in the past would be World War II that we lost.
Well, that is a subgenre of historical fiction called alternate history.
All right, I can accept that. It's
historical fantasy.
Yes.
Speculative.
I mean, would the Old Guard be historical fiction because it took place in history? Like that's. I wouldn't consider that historical fiction.
No. But
would
if the
Pirates of the Caribbean, would that be historical fiction?
No.
By your definition,
that's an amusement ride.
All right, I don't know.
So there you go. So yeah, let's wrap this one up. So Tom, once again, the book that you have picked for our next one is Hanneman 1989.
This is just history, no fiction.
It's just history.
It's just history.
Boo!
Boo! Boo!
Jeez, if I wanted history,
gross.
All right, so we'll be talking about that in the next month here. There is no accompanying movie to go along with it, so check that out.
You could look up footage.
Is there some kung fu or something in this book?
Yes,
I think there's tanks.
Yeah.
I think there's probably tanks. So,
yep, at the end.
Yeah. So we'll check that out. We'll probably try and get that in early September. So since this is August coming up, once again, reach the show through all your social media outlets. You can email us at info@aroundcomics.com.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Yep. Check out swag. We have swag.
Aroundcomics.com/shop. You can get that there. Let's go ahead and there you go. Tom's wearing the shirt.
Tom.
Little yeah. Good on you.
We need to do a Tom Caters bobblehead.
But that would sell like hotcakes.
I would buy it. Absolutely.
Just looking tired. Just looking like, oh my god, I can't believe we're arguing about historical fiction. We need to get a librarian up in here.
I'm actually going to call in a librarian on this one. I'm going to get a true definition of this.
Let's find out what is going on.
I have librarians. I have connections with librarians.
Listen, if you can't defend your point on your own, and
if you have to call in your mom, you were just being argumentative. It's like,
if you call in mommy, your librarian friend, then you lose, my friend. I'm sorry. That's just the rules of being a man. You got to go get your big brother. You got to get your big sister to
I'm like, it took place in history where things actually happen. You're like, Wolfenstein is historical fiction.
By that definition, I think that would be historical fiction.
Out of your mind. All right, guys, always fun. We'll be back again Sunday from now, so about 10 days or so. Try and get back on a regular schedule, I think. In the meantime,
in between time,
we'll be everywhere in
and around
comics.
Historical fiction.
Yeah, it happened.
Silly assholes.
I always forget you guys can't hear this.
I can hear that now. I always miss like the last minute of the intro. So